Hey, good morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution, episode 1253. Happy Tuesday. We are only 43 minutes late. We got to blame the dog. We got to blame the little puppy on our tardiness today, Tardy Tuesday. Man, Ernie was full of piss and vinegar yesterday. He was something else. He was kind of active through the weekend, but my wife and I were both home through the weekend. So maybe it just kind of carried over in all that energy that, oh, my humans are here all day. But he was more active yesterday morning than usual, though he did, credit to Ernie, he did sleep in until 8. I took him out. Yeah, we went potty. And then I put him back into bed. Is that how it worked? Or did I just sneak out of bed? I can't remember. But he did sleep until 8. But then then he comes down and he's just a nightmare. And so I bring him out of the playpen. We play a little bit. We go outside, put him back in the playpen. Still a nightmare. I'm like, oh my God. My wife's like, well, I'll take him for the afternoon, take him to the office. I'm like, okay, that would be very helpful. She did. She said he was very good at the office. He comes home and he is just a freaking ball of boundless energy. So we took him outside and we played. It's like, I am fucking exhausted. How is this dog still got the zoomies? Bring him back in. Still a little nightmare. Like, come on, Ernie. Ernie, chill, buddy. So he finally did eventually chill out. And then I think my wife let him, instead of me taking him into bed to like kind of rattle him, we left him. My wife was with him in the living room when I went to bed. I woke up. The reason I'm late is partially myself to blame. Can't completely blame the puppy. No, I woke up at like 2 a.m. just wide awake, and I was up for like an hour. And that already, like when you wake up in the middle of the night wide awake like that, shit. This is already, your sleep is ruined. You're gonna be a mess the next day. So I'm up for like an hour, middle of the night. 5 o'clock hits. I didn't know it was 5 o'clock until Ernie's bugging me and biting me. And I look at my phone like, oh, it's 5 o'clock, buddy. So I'm like, okay, he must have to go potty. He had to poop. So he got a little 5 o'clock poop in. I can't wake up and go poop like that. Like, I got to move around a little bit, but not Ernie. He's a first thing in the morning guy. So put him back into bed, and he's kind of active again, like chill out. He finally did chill out. It's like, dude, it's 5 o'clock. Come on. But now I'm wide awake. I fall back asleep. I wake up after like 20 minutes, and it's like, I just don't want to wake up. And so I turned my alarm off. Yeah, I'm still yawning. Turned my alarm off. I got up, and here I am, 43 minutes late. But hey, better late than never. So happy Tuesday. So I did yesterday. I got some more shipping. I tell you what, man, it's double-edged sword. Volume sales, double-edged sword. 99centcards.com. Let's flash that banner. There you go. Buy 7 or more, get 25% off at checkout. Everything in my eBay store. But I ran a 50% off sale over the weekend, and it's like, oh, I only have 120 items to ship, orders to ship. Well, when 120 of them orders, those orders are, minimum 10 cards. It's like, shit, this is taking a while, but the dollars and cents are there. So it makes the headache worth the hassle. So had a great, it's been a great month. And I do think, we still have 11 days left of August. It's trending to be my best month to date, year to date. I did make yesterday morning. I'm like, oh shit, it's the Monday after a big 50% off sale. This is going to be a terrible day. Well, thanks to one sale, it really kind of made the day. The Dr. J rookie sold yesterday, so it was a good sales day. And I'm already. I sold a reseller lot this morning, so a nice little start to the morning, to the day. Dr. J did sell, so it was bittersweet when it sold. It's like I kind of like having that in my store, but it's like I kind of like having $500. So that was a pretty nice win. The Dr. J sold for $500, and so that sold for $500. The George Brett sold for, what's the George Brett sell for? Can't remember. Over $100. And those were $1 a piece. I paid $40 for the grading on each. So $82 turned into $600 plus. So can't beat that. Let's see. I still have the Nolan Ryan 74 tops in there, PSA 7, and then awaiting the Walter Payton coming back from SGC. In case you missed it, I did do a video. It's on my YouTube channel of my very first PSA submission. Spoiler alert, if you haven't watched the video, earmuffs now. The Walter Payton came back min size, so which is pretty common among 70s cards. So hopefully I'll have that. I should have that back. I'm thinking maybe this Saturday at the Madison Card Show. Depends on how quickly the SGC turnaround is now, but it's usually pretty fast, and I think it was sent a few weeks ago, so it might not be back by Saturday. What else? I started listing the 55 tops that I purchased last week in Janesville. Partial set, all of the cards except for the really big hitters. And some of those, it's fun. The vintage baseball is not as, and I've kind of noticed this. Now I've dealt with vintage in volume here over the last couple months, where in the past I've sold vintage. I've bought 70s baseball lots in partial sets, and I know they move, but it's a slow mover. What I noticed was once in volume, those football and basketball, those move pretty quickly. And I was surprised at how quick the basketball moved, because I've dabbled in vintage basketball, but not on the scale that I've been working with this summer. But baseball's just not that fast of a mover. And I kind of knew that going in, buying these 55s, and they're lower grade, but they're not beaters. Only out of the 100, and how many were there? 190, 195, I think. Only a few have creases. They're pretty much crease free. So I thought that's going to help. But it's been slow moving, but I've listed, and I've only listed maybe 35 of the almost 200. The Rizzuto sold like right away. Eddie Matthews sold last night. What else sold? A couple of common sold. Harry Elliott sold like immediately for $5. So I'm wondering, am I underpricing that? I don't know. And then another like common sold for a few bucks last night. So I expect them all to move eventually, some slower than others. Nick brings up a great question. Examine baseball. Good morning. Why do you think the vintage is slow for baseball? Supply. There's just way more supply of baseball cards than there are vintage football and basketball. Especially when you get into the early 70s. 55, of course, there's not much, I guess, football. There's the 55 football. But when you get into like the early 70s, when basketball is, vintage basketball is a little more common by 72, 73, I think, maybe even 71, 72. But the numbers are, way more baseball, and you really notice it by the mid 70s. Baseball just, they turned the printing presses on and never stopped them, whereas football and basketball just not as many made. So all related to supply, far more baseball out there than football and basketball when it comes to the vintage stuff. So that's oh, John says, did you say vintage? The bat signal went out. So I did do made a new I went, so last night, it's a beautiful night. I like these late summer where the evenings are nice and cool, crisp a little bit, but it's still warm. Had one of those nights. We have a Three Seasons porch, I guess is what they call them. And when we were going through designing basically a rebuild of this house, and my wife wanted to put a Three Seasons porch on. And I'm like, yeah, that would be, we're going to use it. I thought we would use the Three Seasons porch as much as the treadmill and e-bike. And it does get used as much as going into the e-bike, I thought, I would be using that a lot more. I did use it, but that was year one. That was the honeymoon period. So it was also I think one of the main reason we haven't really used it that much is it wasn't completed until like November of last year. We moved in July. The Three Seasons porch was like the last thing and then the city gave us fucking headaches over this, not zoning, but fucking permits on this goddamn thing. Pain in the ass. In fact, they just did the final walkthrough on our Three Seasons porch like a few weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago. It was this summer. It was like June or July. June, I think. It might have been end of June. I think it was before we left. So they finally did the final walkthrough of the porch. So we didn't finish it until November. So obviously we're not using it in November, December, January, February, March. And then we didn't have, it was storage. It was winter storage. Like we put the deck furniture and other shit that we needed storage. We'll just throw it in here. And we didn't have furniture yet. So, into the spring, we move everything out. And then in the spring, my wife organized it, got furniture, moved furniture around. And now, like, I went out there. My wife's like, I'm going to go sit on the porch. I hadn't even like stepped foot in it since she did all this. And I'm like, holy shit, this is really nice. Like, we just need a TV in here. Just need a TV in here, which we will, but indoor, outdoor TVs are so expensive. So we're not going to do that. We're going to put like a shelf or something up where the plug-in is, and then we'll take it out during during the winter. So I've spent a little bit of time out there, and my wife spent a lot more time than I have. She'll do some work out there, in the evening. And I'm like, you know what? I want to list those 55s. And I've got kind of caught up on shipping. I'm going to go out there and do some work. Bring my laptop, throw some show on there. So after dinner last night, went into the porch and took my 55s, took my little photo box sheet as a background, and listed those. Had some TV. Pluto TV is like the best. I think Pluto TV is the app that I use the most of like the streaming apps, because there's always something that I'm interested in. But I'm also, when it comes to television and viewing movies and television, I'm nostalgia based. Because I don't pay attention, and so just the sound of it is nice. But also it's like I watch stuff that's like, it's just background stuff. And Pluto has a great, library of all that stuff. So I bring up Pluto TV, and it's free. You don't have to log in, all that bullshit. So super easy. So I bring up Pluto TV and scroll through and put some stuff on in the background. enlisted some 55s, and it was a nice little night. Orlando says you could do this show from the porch. I could. I don't know if I want to though. I could take now. I have a new laptop. Normally I wouldn't be able to do before I bought the new laptop. I would not have been able to. It would have been like the old house where I still use the laptop in my shipping room that I was using for Hobby Evolution from the old house, which is slower than molasses. So, but new laptop. Maybe one of these days. John says porch people sounds ghetto. You use the treadmill more than you use vintage comps. Not true. I had a nice little head start on the comps. I think I comped the Rizzuto at 60 and it sold for 70. So sold for above comps. Now my 72 high numbers. Now those, that's what made that was a lesson. And we don't learn. Sometimes we don't learn unless we make mistakes. And the estate sale vintage was my learning lesson in, if you're not 100% familiar with something, maybe look up comps. So now I'm looking up comps more than I did. It's like, this is a common, I've never heard of this guy. $2. Oh shit, it's a high number and worth 35, whatever. So I am comping. Lewis Bain, good morning. What's going on? Philly Joe's in the house. Good morning. Steve is here. What's happening? Johnny Boy Cards, good morning. Victor, good morning. Javi, he's back. Javier Baez making his return to Wrigley. Isn't that, somebody mentioned that, one of my friends mentioned that to me before the season began and said, Javi Baez is coming back to Wrigley for the first time. And I'm like, no, that can't be. He was traded 3 years ago. That can't be right. Correct? Because I would have thought, like, had I not known that, he was traded by the Cubs to the Mets. And I'm like, well, the Mets and Cubs would have played, but he only spent like the half season with the Mets. And then he signed with Detroit in the offseason. So I just assumed like between July and the end of the season of 2021, the Mets and Cubs played. Then they probably played at Wrigley. That was just my assumption. That's what happens when you assume. I don't think Anthony Rizzo has been back to Wrigley until the Yankees do come to town. At some point, I think next month, I think sometime in September, the Yankees are at Wrigley. And that makes more sense because Rizzo's been with the Yankees the entire time. So that makes sense that the Yankees haven't played at Wrigley. So Anthony Rizzo also makes his return to Wrigley Field for the first time. NWI Sports Cards, good morning. Harlan's in the house. What's happening? Card Safari is here. Good morning. Orlando, good morning. Jody, what's happening? Kyle's in the house. Good morning. Brian is here. What's happening? Sports Card Ripping Teacher says it's Andy Bennis's birthday. Happy birthday, Andy Bennis. I'm sure you will get a sales bump. I wonder if I have any Andy Bennis in my eBay store. Let's check it out. Sometimes these are fun little exercises. I'm guessing I do not have any Andy Bennis in my eBay store. No, I'm going to say I have two because I bet I have an 88 Topps Traded Team USA in my eBay store. And I bet I have like a 94 score, like some random year. Maybe I still have an 89 Topps. I think that would be something I would listed at some point. Andy Bennis. Search. So my guess is 2. Oh, I have 4 Andy Bennis cards in my eBay store, and the 2 that I mentioned are there. I have the 88 Topps Traded Team USA card, $1.50 free shipping. And I do have like a late career, mid-90s card. It's a 1996 Metal Universe Andy Bennis with the St. Louis Cardinals. Also, $1.50 free shipping. And guess what? 3 of the 4 Andy Bennis cards, guess where they're located? Box 13. It is still kicking. Box 13. It's been on life support for 3 years, but we are still using Box 13, and 3 of the 4 Andy Bennis cards make their home in Box 13. The other 2 Andy Bennis cards in my eBay store, a 1992 Bowman Gold Foil, and that was actually recently listed. That was from Goodwill pallet number 19, and a 1989 Star. You know, they're not Broder, but Star. I guess, Star was a thing. Basically about as close to Broder as it gets. 1989 Star rookie with the Padres. So 4 Andy Bennis cards in my eBay store, 99centcards.com. I'm thinking 2, and I thought maybe 2 was an overreach. I thought 2 might be high of a guess. Brian says, I had that 74 Nolen in my cart a few times. Hey, pull the trigger, man. Pull the trigger. Treat yourself. Peter, good morning. Do you ever see yourself shifting to more vintage and less modern stuff? No, I do not. Vintage is definitely going to be, I'm going to keep an eye out on more. And that all has to do with the estate sale and what I learned on the estate sale. It's like, oh, don't ignore. Like, I didn't ignore vintage. Like, I've been buying vintage since I was a kid. But it's never been, it's not something that I study or know much about. It's, if I can get lots, I've bought thousands of early 70s in like small auctions. I did notice, but this is during the COVID boom. I had early 70s football and they flew. They were flying out of my store. And that's like, oh, I should have taken, but it was also during the COVID craze. And I'm like, maybe it's just the COVID craze, but no, it's not. 70s football is a great seller. I don't see myself shifting. I don't see myself shifting to more vintage and less modern, but I have shifted my focus where it's not ignoring vintage, where, I've somewhat kind of ignored vintage, where I have a better grasp of what I can get, what sells, where it sells at, where I didn't really have that because I didn't deal in volume like I did this summer, where put thousands and thousands of 70s baseball, football, basketball. Now I have an idea what sells, where it sells, where the price point is, how fast is the sell-through rate. So now I have that, and now I can make an honest assessment when I'm looking at vintage, pricing out lots. So will you see more vintage in my store? Potentially. Is it going to overtake modern? I would say no, but we evolve. And a year ago, it's like, no, vintage isn't my wheelhouse, but selling cards full time wasn't in my wheelhouse 3 years ago. We change, we evolve. So what about eBay auctions? I'm running eBay auctions now. I hate eBay auctions as a seller. But I do find some value, and I'm learning what will move, and some of the stuff I know it's going to sell for lower than what I would have it buy it now, but it's going to sell. And if it sells for $3 instead of $8 or $10, that's okay, as long as it's not something I bought last weekend out of a $5 box. I'm not going to put that in a 99-cent auction and it sells for $3. That's just a waste. But if it's something that's been sitting in my eBay store for a year and it's somewhat liquid, where it's going to get some bids, it's going to get some stuff going. So I will start those auctions tonight, by the way. I think I'll do some more porch listing tonight. I will list football, and I did find some more. Actually, these, I think I shared yesterday what I'm going to be listing. So it's football. I need a fucking screwdriver to get a goddamn card out of a holder. Damn screw down. So Erasmus James, this is probably a 99-cent card. This is something that, if I pulled this out of a $1 box, I wouldn't want to put it at a 99-cent auction because it's probably going to sell for 99 cents. I'm going to be more careful with shipping this time. It's not going to be free shipping. At least my intent, again, is to not do free shipping on the auctions. There will be a charge. And it's gonna vary based on. I think I need to practice before I start listing these tonight, because I need to be fully focused, because I want to have these staggered, so it makes it for a more enjoyable experience when we go live next Tuesday night. So like Erasmus James, he'll be. I'm going to do 99 cents shipping for ESE, for plain white envelope. So Erasmus James, it won't be shipped in this. It'll be shipped in a card saver, penny sleeve and card saver. I need to get my one Phillips head screwdriver, so I can free Erasmus James from his jail. So that's something that I would put 99 cent shipping on, and it's going to go PWE. Now, the Aaron Henderson auto, that's going to be $4 shipping, and it's going to go in a bubble mailer. So it's going to vary. And I will do combined shipping. I've got to set up a combined shipping thing. That's why free shipping is just so much easier. So I did have an offer on Aaron Hernandez at a $60 offer, which I countered. I don't know if it's been declined or countered. It hasn't been countered, but I don't know. It hasn't been accepted. So I assume that's not going to sell. The Travis Kelce that I showed yesterday, that did sell. So that will not be part of the auction. Caleb Williams, Goodwin Champions, Splash of Color. That's going to be a PWE shipping. This will be a bubble mailer shipment. Jordan Love. Can't remember. Fortunately, most of these are on eBay, so I don't have to look them up. The Earl Morale 72 high number. This is actually in really nice shape. There's kind of a corner. The corners are not sharp, but it's pretty well centered. But it's a pretty clean card. 72 high number, Earl Morale. There's actually one. I wonder where that one's at. There's an Earl Morale auction that I saw yesterday. So I was just comping out. Maybe it ended last night. So there's mine's listed right now. I'll buy it now for $100, which is one of the lower ones. There's a $50 card, but it's pretty beat up. Let's go to find sold. So that auction must have ended. It did. And in this, I would say the auction that ended is pretty close to what mine's in better shape. Mine's better centered. This one's really off center, and it sold for $71. So I'm looking, that should be a good sale. It might hit close to 100. This is a Peyton Manning ornament. These are all going to start at auction tonight. It'll be a 7-day auction, and then we'll culminate the auctions with a live stream next Tuesday night. This is it's got a crease. It's not in great shape, but it's the greatest upset in college football history. Appalachian State beats Michigan at the Big House from 2007. That was a Goodwill pallet find. More college football. Here's another J.J. Watt. This, I believe, was 2010. He's going into his junior year, the Best Buy version. So I was surprised. I had a J.J. Watt last week that sold for $23. So I'm looking forward to that. Here's an Emmitt Smith. I've got to figure out which ones are in my eBay store and which ones are not. This is a Japanese Skybox Dominion insert of Emmitt Smith. I did have somebody last week, I think, cleared out all of my Emmitt Smith cards. And I've got a whole, I think one of those boxes. No, I have a box of Emmitt Smith cards. Like, I need to list these. Here's a Rob Gronkowski Topps Prime rookie card. So some of these I didn't show off. These are more that I found to list. Here's a 72 Dick Butkus. It's got corners are kind of messed up on this. You can see kind of up there. So 72 Topps Butkus. Here's a 75 OJ. These are still from the estate sale. Here's a 76 Roger Staubach. So we're going to have some vintage football. These are all football in this week's auctions. 76 Topps Lynn Swan. Here's a 76 Terry Bradshaw. We've got a Brett Favre Silver Prism from 2014. So an early Prism foot. That might have been the first Prism football year. Can't remember when it started. Oh, another Gronk. Here's a foil, Bowman foil from 2013. I believe that's a second year. Some more autos. Here's a press pass Golden Tate for Notre Dame fans. Not sure where he played in the NFL. Michael Crabtree auto numbered out of 200, hand numbered from Sage. Here's a dual auto, Brian Cushing and James Casey. So that's going to be at auction tonight, starting tonight. Here's a T.Y. Hilton Chrome Camo Refractor Rookie, numbered out of 499. Here's another screwdriver that I've got to get out. This is going to be a cheapie auto. Abdul Hodge, the Green Bay Packers. Leo Chenal, Leaf Pro Set auto. And Justin Jefferson Silver Prism. And then there were some other ones. Oh, there's an Aaron Rodgers rookie that's going to go up from Topps, 2005 Topps. There's some Brady's that I got to get out. So these auctions will all start tonight. I think I'm going to start firing them off sometime around 7:15. And then we'll go live next Tuesday night to watch the ending. And then I think the next round of auctions will do non-sport, other sport that I was sharing some of those cards yesterday. Let's see. John says, cool and sunny here. Not me, the weather. There you go. Same here. It's cool and sunny here. Yeah, it's cool and sunny here. Whoa, I would consider it cold outside. Would consider it cold outside. 57 degrees. That's cold. And I'm wearing shorts and a t-shirt. I've got to take, it's 8:15. I actually need to watch the time because I've got to take Ernie to a grooming appointment this morning. Oh, shit. I think about all of the 1955 tops that were listed in my store just sold this morning. Wow. So thank you for that. Whole bunch just sold. Nice. Let's see. Where are we at? John says TVs are cheap. You could just buy one each year. That's true. Just leave it in the winter and just buy a new one. You got a good point there. Orlando says you could do the show from your porch. Porch people sounds ghetto. Mark, good morning. Hobby Evolution on location. Love it. We've done a couple on locations. We did on location from the estate sale. And who would have thought, like, how momentous was that going in? I'm like, I don't know. There's 4 guys ahead of me. Like, now looking back, it's kind of fun. Maybe go back and if you don't have anything else to watch, go back and watch Hobby Evolution on the road from the middle of June sometime on the side of the road, side of a street in Baraboo, Wisconsin. Me talking about how worried I was that I wasted my trip to Baraboo, going to waste half a day. 4 guys are ahead of me in line to get in. I'm not going to find anything good. If only I knew then what I know now. CNN Collectibles, good morning. Jeremy, what's up? As a Tiger fan, can you keep Baez, please? No, you keep him. No. It's a tug of war. You have him. No, you take him. No, we don't want him. Nick says, no Andy Bennis sales yet today. None for me. Mark says, though, a box 13 reference made my day. How about that? Ironically, I was going to take a photo yesterday of box 13 because I sold a card or a couple cards out of box 13 as I was shipping yesterday. And I'm like, I need to take a picture of box 13. It's been a while. Dan says Bennis and Mattingly, both from Evansville. Yes. And that was how Bennis gave up a playoff home run to Mattingly. That's pretty. I did not know that. I did know Bennis was from Evansville because that was the connection to when he came to speak at the baseball leadoff dinner at Western Illinois. The baseball coach at the time played at Evansville, and his dad was the baseball coach at Evansville. So that's how the Andy Bennis keynote speaker came to Macomb, Illinois. That dude from Duryea, the Bennis cards could be why you still have box 13. That very well could be. And I did notice there's a lot of junk in box 13. There's a lot of, I don't ship out of box 13 very often. There's some boxes where it's like boxes 24, 26, 27. Well, and that's kind of comes with the territory. The newer boxes is the newer inventory. And then once it gets stale, they get stale. I'm trying to think of like older boxes that I have that I ship a lot out of. And it doesn't really, I can't say it because I consolidate. And so when I ship out, I'll put more in. So like I'll go through into box 5 and I could move box 5. All of a sudden I'll have a bunch of sales out of box 5, but that's because it's new inventory. So I can't really make an honest assessment of which box is the better seller. It's just which box has the newest inventory, because that's usually what's going to sell fastest. Cooter, good morning. You should do a video of retiring box 13 to the fire pit filled with Dodger cards, of course. I don't have a real fire pit. I have two fake fire pits. I have one down on my patio here off the basement, but it's a propane. Both of them are propane fire pits because I'm not a real man. I don't change my own oil, and I don't have a real fire pit. So I could. I mean, it's real fire. But I wouldn't want to put a box on top of it. I wouldn't want to set things in it and make a mess. Brian says, remember last week when I said I wanted to go rip some retail? I went to Walmart and Target and both were completely out. Was very surprised. That's interesting. Which stores did you go to? That's very surprising. Now, I say that I haven't looked at the card section in Walmart or Target. I don't go to Target that often. I used to go all the time, but that's when I was buying retail all the time. And now when I do, Walmart the Walmarts here have been better stocked than Target. But I haven't been to like the East Side Walmart. Monona always sucks. Didn't used to be that way. Monona used to have the best card section. Now they have the worst card section in town. And the Watts Road is like Monona. It sucks also. So if I am looking for retail, I go to the East Side Walmart. Stuke's in the house. Good morning. Orlando says, if you want to learn vintage, watch John's basement tapes. I have been. There's so many of them that I just kind of like, oh, a new basement tapes. I'll watch this one. So I just kind of jump around. Card Safari says, Bo, you inspired me to test out auctions. Have a ton of 1969 Topps autographs that I've been procrastinating getting up on eBay for months. Was much easier to post them at $1.99 staggered 30 seconds apart. Interesting. I would love to hear how they go, and already a good start. Bids on over half of them in the first day. Excellent. Well, keep us. What's your eBay username? If you some people don't want to share that, but if you're willing to share it, let us know. CNM Collectible says the name Erasmus is worth more than 99 cents alone. Right. He's got to be the only Erasmus that's played sports, professional sports, let alone just football. Good morning, Todd. My daughter got her first in-person auto yesterday. Very nice. Matt Kinney from Maine, who had a brief, I remember Matt Kinney, 1990 Montreal Expos, correct? She was very excited. Very cool. Love it. Zach says you should just give that morale to John for all the advice and life coaching he has provided you over the years. He also works the wrench pro bono. It's time. Nick says, do you really want to list auctions over Labor Day weekend? Yes. So they end Tuesday night, so I'm completely okay with that. Nick says, and yeah, you are a week early. Yeah, Labor Day weekend is in 2 weeks. So there you go. Zach and Porter, but does make me the issue that going back to that, the issue is when I run another set of auctions. Here's the conundrum I face is these auctions will end next Tuesday, and I want to run Tuesday night auctions, but I guess I could pre-plan them, right? I can set them up and then just fire them off. Tuesday night, but I'm going to be doing a live show, so you're going to see me every 60 seconds. Oh, got to list another one. Although I guess I can schedule them. And I think that's free now. It's not like a 10-cent charge. I'll have to look into that too. But I don't think running them through Labor Day weekend, I mean, will there be less traffic? Probably. But I think the most important part is the first 24 hours and the last 24 hours, because that's when people are searching newest listed, ending soonest. So as long as you're not starting it or ending it Friday through Monday of Labor Day, I think you'll be okay. Zach says, Bo's boss doesn't recognize holidays, federal or local. He is grinding for good all the time. I am. Yes, we are grinding. Dude, those Dominion inserts sell well. I sold some Aikman, Couch, and Favre. Excellent. Why aren't you wearing gloves while handling these? Is Baez the new Pablo Sandoval? I think Baez is the new Chris Davis. I was looking at contract. Chris Davis, like everybody talks about Bobby Bonilla's contract, which is like not that bad of a contract for either the Mets or Bobby Bonilla. Chris Davis, man, that makes the Baltimore. Chris Davis is still on the books for the Orioles and will be until like 2037. And it's not like $1 million. It's like $4 million a year, something crazy. Let's look it up. So I'm not talking out of turn here. Google Chris Davis Orioles contract. So he signed a 7-year, $161 million deal. But I think a lot of that was deferred money. So here's from Forbes. I believe, Nick, do you still write for Forbes? This is from, who wrote this? Justin Birnbaum wrote this article. Let's see. Leading the pack is former Orioles slugger Chris Davis at $14.8 million. Davis retired in 2021. Let's see. So this was written, I think, last year. Yeah, last March. So with $5.6 million in retained salary and $9.2 million in deferred compensation, Davis will earn more than any player currently on the Orioles roster. He will also receive roughly another $56 million through 2037. And Chris Davis, not only did he retire in 2021, but he absolutely sucked for the Baltimore Orioles. Oof. Zach says, Bennett's 1989 Topps is a great card. Great card. I agree. Panda was good for more than half a season. Yeah, it's a good point. Brian went to Target East and Walmart East. That's surprising about Walmart East. Usually they're pretty stocked. I rarely go to Target East Side. I've only been there a few times. Mark says Donnie Baseball hit his famous playoff home run off Bennis in 1995 in Yankee Stadium. The stadium shook. Max says, "Welcome to my Walmart beat off." Okay. Walmart beat off. Wasn't that what Reese McGuire did? Yeah, I think it was. Card Safari on eBay as well. Okay, that's easy. Card Safari. Check out his 69 autos. Kyle says, talking about Box 13 reminds me of when I first started listening to Hobby Evolution. Box 13 and Bowman U Football were like co-hosts of this show. Yes. Yes. We don't have characters like that anymore. We don't have Frank. We don't have Box 13. We don't have Bowman U. We need to find some characters. Brian says, I just checked baseball, football, hockey, basketball, and soccer reference. Only one Erasmus. There you go. And Erasmus, you can get his auto in my eBay auctions. Victor wants to know, am I setting up Saturday? I am not. Not this weekend. I probably will set up at the September Madison Card Show. Probably starting in September, I will set up again. So and that could change also. But no, I will not be set up this weekend. Nick says, barely. Pay isn't so great, and Fanatics cut off their product servicing about a year after the takeover. Red light, late, but made it. Welcome. I was also late. No worries. Card Safari says, I never realized the Mets have also been paying Brett Saberhagen. Yes, along with Bonilla. Yeah. It's kind of, I think Ken Griffey Jr. is still on the Reds payroll. I think this is the last year that Ken Griffey Jr. makes money from the Reds. You'd be shocked. I mean, Jason Hayward is making $5 million from the Cubs this season. So Max Scherzer is getting $15 million from the Nationals this year. So there's a lot of deferred money out there. But Bobby Bonilla is like the poster boy, and his is like the least of everybody's, from a dollar standpoint. Red Light wants to know how everyone is. Mr. Archer, good morning. Card Safari says, great moment, Mark. I still remember Gary Thorne on that call, a voice that's made for those moments. Zach says, I met Erasmus a few years ago. Dude is slim now. What was he back then? Playing day weight, 263. It's funny. I'm sure he was a lineman, right? Lineman after their playing days, Joe Thomas, super skinny. Gabe Karimi, super skinny. Linemen just shed that weight after their playing days. Max says, deferred money for billion-dollar companies is essentially free money. I agree, 100%. Brian says, I'm planning on attending the September show in Madison, saving my eBay profits so I can shop for Nolan Ryan's. Love it, love it. Madison Card Show this Saturday, August 24th. Sheraton Hotel on John Nolen Drive. Free admission, 200 tables. Come out and see us. 4 rooms, 2 floors, free admission, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Early birds are welcome this Saturday, John Nolen Drive at the Sheraton Hotel. eBay store is 99centcards.com. Shop and save 7 or more. You'll save 25% off at checkout. Somebody took advantage of that sale this morning and got themselves a nice little collection of 1955 tops, which I've added a whole bunch of those, and I'll continue adding. Tonight, my auctions begin. Football is the theme for this week's auctions. So find yourself some good football cards. I'll start firing these auctions. They'll start tonight, and there'll be 7-day auctions ending next Tuesday night, and it will culminate with a live stream next Tuesday right here on this YouTube channel. Zach says, Gabe didn't play long in the NFL. Unfortunately, no, he didn't. Great family. Great guy. He's in Texas now. The Karimis are actually family friends of my wife and in-laws. We've had holidays with them. Good people. Porter says, good morning. Just got home from my first school drop-off as a parent. Hey, congrats. Now that my son is in school, I'll be able to watch live again. Welcome back and congratulations. Zach says, I love that you expanded the TCG selection. A great example of supply-demand driving capitalism. Even in Madison, it can happen, right? We are a capitalist society, and when there's demand for dealers to sell Pokemon, I'm for the people. You want to sell your Pokemon? You can sell your Pokemon! Capitalism, baby. I'm here for it. I am here for it. All righty. So hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. I do have to wrap things up because I've got to take Ernie to get groomed. So he's got to go potty. I got to get some coffee. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, visit my eBay store, 99centcards.com. We'll do this again tomorrow morning at some point hopefully in the 7 o'clock hour. We've been in the 7. Today was, I think, one of the later days. So we'll do this again tomorrow. I'll aim for 7 a.m. Central Time tomorrow, depending on puppy time. And if I get good sleep. I got shit sleep last night. So I got to blame myself for this one. All right. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.